One of our goals is to provide you as members the most value that we can for the price of your membership. I mean, I could talk for 45 minutes about what goes into planning a meeting, what we do, everything about the value that we discuss giving you guys for the $75 a year. It went up, it was 50. October 1st, it went up to 75. And I just told Polly, I said, let's run that special till the end of the month here. You can still sign up for 2 years for $100. That's at the old rate of $50 a year. So, are we good for that reimbursement? What did I just get suckered into?
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. I'm not being cheap, I'm asking.
I'm not teasing this guy, I really do. We look a lot like, yeah, see, I'm a little taller. No, he's a little taller than I am.
Yes.
No, you said you would reimburse if they joined tonight $75 on the first year.
If they join for 2 years, I'll do $100 on the first year.
Okay, there you go.
And that's to make it even fair, because all you people that are already spent the money, if you do, when you do your first deal with me, let me know you're a member here. I'll verify it, and I'll discount your cost of membership as well, so that you're not out of money. We all get a little incentive.
There you go. See, this is how we all work together. This is one of the benefits, the value at KCIG for our membership. So we really do want you to succeed. The last thing, and that is, we have elections coming up next month, and the nominees for the board, before I give those to you, after I give those to you, if you want to nominate anybody else, then please see Cindy, myself, or Chris, and we'll make sure that that gets noted. But the nominees for the board are Cindy as VP. You may have help me.
You as president.
Well, I was going to do that last.
Oh. Wait for the time for office.
That was Sunday.
No, I'm sorry.
Cindy is VP, Polly on the board as board member over the website. Marcus Painter, my son, nominated for stepping down from VP. His 2-year term is up to be on the board and be over membership. Me as president, and these nominees, with the exception of Polly, are 2-year terms. So that we'll be voting on those next at the November meeting.
You forgot some.
Oh, who?
You forgot treasurer, Bill Conway.
Oh, treasurer, Bill. Yeah, Bill, stand up. I'm sorry, man. I think a lot of Bill. I'll tell you what. He is my conscience and my guide at the board meetings. You know, sometimes I get carried away, and he's sitting right here, you know, saying, "Oh yeah." So it makes me look good. So Bill for treasurer.
I'm kind of a low key.
And Chris, secretary. Yeah, thank you. And he will also have an undersecretary who, the undersecretary will be Michelle Herman, and I've spoken with her, and so she's agreed to do that. The undersecretary, well, her responsibility will just be to take the notes and answer to Izzy, kind of like an in-training position there. So we are interested in getting new people on the board, expanding the board a little bit. So
Now, one other thing to mention to them, since they don't know our bylaws, to be on the board, a person has to be a member for 1 year, okay? To be an officer, a person has to have been on the board for 1 year. So the only people you can nominate is if they have been an active member in KCIG for 1 year. Okay?
the officers consist of the president, the VP, the treasurer, and membership.
Secretary.
And secretary, yes, secretary.
Are the board meetings open to the general departments?
No, those are closed.
Yeah, but we are going to look for, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yes, you do, that's right, you did.
You know,
We are going to look for subcommittees and stuff to help us try to, our goal next year is to increase the value of the club and increase membership. so we are gonna look, if you're proactive and you're accountable, come on up and talk to one of us and tell us you wanna get on some subcommittees, okay? Because we've got a lot going on and we can need help. And that's a good way to come on the board, because then you can kind of get a feel of what all goes on, and if you want to participate, come into the board next election. So that's a
Would you have to be a member for a year to be on the subcommittee
Nope.
as well?
No. Anybody in the membership can be on a subcommittee. So, and, if you serve on a subcommittee for a year, it's going to mean that at the end of that year, you've been a member for a year, and then you'll be eligible. And it helps us really to see who's committed, because I tell you what, the board member, that's a committed position. The pay is fantastic, that's another side benefit, but, it's just, the other than the board meetings, we text a lot, we call each other. If there's times that, at least from my end, there's days where I talk to this lady and other board members 15 times a day, just on issues that come up and that kind of thing, or decisions that have to be made. And, unfortunately, the buck stops here. So, anyway, so that's coming up next month. One other thing.
Go ahead.
I want to put a plug in for the Christmas dinner coming up in December. I would love to see everybody here at our Christmas dinner. What a fantastic time at the end of the year. You've worked hard, you've come to all the meetings, you've really listened, you've written down notes, worked hard. It's a way to treat yourself at the end of the year, and you need to do that. So I would love to sit down and talk with each of you at the Christmas dinner. I tell you what, if you'll come, I won't pay for it like he said he would. But I tell you what, I will try to make it around and talk to each one of you personally, if you come. That's one of my goals, is I meet so many people and talk to so many people. I don't know about you, Dave, but I never forget a face, but names don't always stick. It's not that I'm getting old, it's just that there is too much on the hard drive.
Start using your class.
My mom said my head was in the cloud a long time ago. So, all right, I just wanted to put a plug in for that.
Polly's comment.
Oh, Polly's good.
You're
It's
receiving a
5:08.
buck. You're receiving a buck.
Quit talking.
Oh, she was a good dagger, right? Okay. This lady right here is somebody that you really need to get to know. I won't take up a lot of your time, but I will tell you this, that when I first got into real estate, she got me the funding for my first deal. The gal she went to bat for me. I mean, I was as green could be. And she said she needed this, she needed that, she needed a personal financial statement. And I'm going, what's that? So, anyway, after I got all that stuff together, she went and found a bank that would do the deal for a first-time real estate investor. This gal's going to bat for me a lot. And she has a ton of information here, and this is somebody that you really, really, really need to get to know. So without any more interruptions, Sydney.
And I must say, I did the loan prior to the downfall in the market.
Yes, you.
Straight up, I do, let me see, because I
No, it was the fall of 08. Isn't that when it hit?
oh yeah, but then it went on down.
Well, that's right, 'cause I did have one failed closing. We had a property under contract, we had the loan and everything lined up, same bank that we'd done business with, I mean, the first one went like clockwork. They called us up on a Friday at 5:05. Actually, I called you and you called me, I think.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah, in tears, crying. And said that the bank had just gotten out of the board meeting and the board members decided to cancel all commercial investor loans. I said, yeah, okay, but we're closing on Monday, and so we're good with that, right? And she said, Only failed closing I've ever had. I couldn't get that taken care of. Anyway, Cindy.
Hi. I'm going to give you a little bit about me, and then it'll hopefully carry some weight in what I'm going to teach you all tonight. And with Hal, and we're going to put the PowerPoint presentation up, because what I have is very detail-oriented, okay? For 18 years, I have been a true broker. And I started off, and I was fortunate enough that I learned lending in California, and we did everything from conventional and government loans to commercial and private commercial money. We could finance gold mines in Nigeria, and we could finance casinos in the Dominican. So I was taught to be very open-minded. And that's kind of what's got me into with real estate investors. I tend to think outside the box, which is unusual for a lender. In that time frame, I noticed I've been with investors for, I think, 15 years now. I don't deal in investors. That's not my specialty at all now. I'm a straight shooter. And since the lending guidelines have gotten so stringent, to go to the local bank and get rehab money like we used to, unless you have large depository accounts there, they aren't going to loan to you. Unless you're doing millions of dollar commercial project, or $500,000 or $750,000, you know. Residential, typically they will not lend in right now. I still do deal with investors, but only if they have about 1 1/4 personal liquid. So that's about 2% of the population of Kansas City. So I want to shoot straight to you all, okay? Because I don't want you to think I can do a lender. They're the ones to go to for your financing, okay? But in being with investors as long as I have, and I had very strong investors. I had investors that had 50 to 60 properties each. They got into those properties with $500 out of pocket, typically. And then we had the downfall in the market. And I noticed they're very good people. They were good business people, but they didn't do the figures behind it to see if it would support everything. So that's one of the things I'm going to talk to you all tonight about, because when you get into the financial or the business aspect of money, sometimes that can be very overwhelming to the average person, myself included sometimes. It gets very complicated. So tonight, and we're going to put the PowerPoint, and I have an Excel sheet and everything. We will put that up on the website. Give us a few days, because I created this PowerPoint all day and we can't put it up. So the first thing I'm going to talk about tonight is a personal financial statement. And what that is, it reveals your overall net worth. It takes your expenses, your liabilities, and your assets and your income. And it's nice to see where you set financially. Yourself, or if you have a company, you can also do it for the company to see how you set financially. When you move to the point that you're going to be a very, very big investor, and you would be going to the bank, and you would have a lot of assets or large loans, they're going to ask for this information, okay? So it's best to become comfortable with it and acclimated for it, because they will ask you for it in the future. So, now let me figure out how. I am this girl. Carl. So a Forma is a method of calculating the financial results to emphasize either current or projected income, revenue projections, estimated expenses, and positive cash flow. And a Forma is a multi-year projection. And let's say I'm in the process now of financing a bank, and the Forma they brought up, they're purchasing an existing bank, so they're showing 3 years of federal income, reported income, and then they do a 3-year projected income. So that is what a Forma is: the current, what you're going to do to change it, and then the projected income. And Forma is important too. Let's say you are dealing in private money, okay? You're going to an individual. If you can show them a Forma, that's going to give you more credibility. Because they're going to say, here's the cost to this, here's the projected income. And you're going to come off as more professional and more knowledgeable than someone that doesn't provide a Forma to them. There are several websites that I found where you can go in and find real estate performance, and it's P-R-O-F-O-R-M-A. I was going to create one, but then I didn't have enough time to go into the Excel sheet and do all the calculations. But you're going to take into account all your expenses. So not only acquisition and repairs, your utilities, your insurance, your interest that you're going to pay, okay? And you can hope for the best, but plan for the worst in all of this, because that's what the bank's going to do. And to cover your backside, that's what you need to do, business-wise, okay? So you're going to estimate, but don't overlook anything. So many times, real estate investors will be like, oh, I rehabbed, I don't need any repairs. Yeah, you're going to, because they're going to be a repair line. Okay? You're going to need to estimate the repairs because it's better to overcover your backside than leave it uncovered. And then I forgot. Okay, your personal financial statement. And we're going to have all this up, and this is actually in an Excel sheet that will be up on the website. It's going to take into account your all your personal asset accounts. It's going to take up your liabilities, and it's going to give you your net worth. So you plug that information in, and it's nice to see where you are. Granted, it's not always a pretty picture, but you can change whatever you want to change. Okay? And then the other thing that banks look at is net operating income. And the net operating income is your gross revenues from rent. So on this one, we estimated $850 a month times 12, gross rents of $10,200 a year. That's your gross income. You've got to take a vacancy factor into effect. Real estate investors typically don't like to take vacancy factors, but it's better to cover your backside. Typically, lenders go on the 10 to 15% vacancy factor. Okay? So here, I use the 15% vacancy factor of $1,530, provided effective gross income of $8,670 a year on this property. Hazard insurance, $870, $350, repairs and maintenance, $750, real estate taxes, $1,000, supplies, $100. So the total expenses that was projected for a year is $2,700, with a net operating income of $5,950. Now, because the banks, they will, when you get into the commercial arena, let's say you're going to go buy a fourplex or sixplex or whatever, they're going to look at this, and this is the reason it's important, because that's a revenue income generation with rent. Then they're going to go in and they're going to look at debt service ratio. And this is a big factor at the banks. The debt service ratio is the ratio of net operating income, so that income we just come up with, to debt payment, your yearly payments. So debt service ratio and equals net operating income divided by net debt service. So on this one, it's 5,950 divided by 5,368 comes up to 1.10. What's that income?
You're not getting,
Banks typically look at the commercial real estate finance. The debt service is the main measure to determine if the property will be able to sustain its debt base on cash flow. Most banks will lend to a low of 1.2 debt service ratio. But at times, the more aggressive practices, they would lower it. Right now, banks overall, they're tight right now. So that's how you do your debt service ratio, the calculation, and then you want it to get up above 1.2. It'd be fantastic if you hovered right below 2. That's beautiful. But don't take out the expenses. You'd be like, oh, we don't need repairs, we don't need, put those in. Even if it's a new house, you don't know what's going to happen. So I think that is, and we'll put this up, and I'm sorry because I would have went into more details, but the personal financial statement, that's an Excel, so you just plug it in and see where you are personally, and you can also do it with the business. Okay? Yeah?
You said there were some websites. What are they?
I can put them up on the, you mean to get the, Forma? Yeah, there was a couple, they wanted you to pay for them. What I'm going to attempt to do, okay, I can create one out of Excel. It'll probably be a few days, because I'm gonna take a day or two off. Because it's not that hard, but it's like, also, I don't know, I'm gonna talk to one of my IT guys, I don't know why they don't create a plugin for this, or QR code. Do you all have one? Plugin or QR code? Because it's pretty, but it'll take into account all of the expenses projected. So that is it, I think. I mean, do you all have any questions or? Yes, sir.
I missed how you kind of with the debt ratio.
The debt service ratio? It's the net operating income divided by the debt service. Okay? And we will put these up and screen by screen, it'll walk you through it, okay? Because it's easier to do that versus writing down. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of you, what your long-term goals are, but when you go to the level that you're going to go to a bank, this is the kind of stuff they're going to ask for. And it's better off if you're comfortable with it and you know where you're setting. The same as with, let's say you go for private money. Well, if you can show your Forma to that private money lender, okay, an individual, that's going to give you more credibility. Because in there you're going to come off more professional and more schooled. So, yes.
I had lunch with the VP at Clay County Savings Bank, Joe Schooner, and I was going over things that he required if somebody wanted to refi, if they bought a property, fixed it up, and wanted to hold on to it, they wanted to refi, that kind of thing. And one of the things that he talked about was the personal financial statement. Even though the property would secure the loan, and they will only do 70 to 75% of the purchase price of the property, not the ARV.
Yes.
Just so you know that. But what she's talking about, when you get ready to go to a bank, or even if, at some point, I may be even a private lender, I'm going to be asking for that kind of thing. Does Dave ask for that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this stuff really is important, and it's just, everybody that's extremely wealthy, any books that you read on the millionaire mindset, they can tell you in a heartbeat where their finances are. They may not know it's on TV, but they can tell you, and that's because that's by design. They spend more time working on their finances and their personal financial statement than they do. It's been said that if your library, or if your TV's bigger than your library, you're in trouble.
Right.
But I mean, sometimes so many of this stuff is overwhelming to people. And it's like, it's pretty easy. I mean, once you get it, it's like, okay, that's the way you do it. And the personal financial statement, don't be, since I've worked with people so long, I know how people's personalities are. And a lot of times people want to be what I call ostriches. They would rather not be aware. You're better to be aware of where you are and where you want to go. And set plans. If it's too high right now and you're wholesaler, okay, set your long-term goals financially. And if your goal, whatever you want to accomplish after you get done wholesaling, make sure your finances are in it. Your personal financials. Because the banks, they're not going to ever quit looking at that.
When you're making a huge mistake, you kid yourself.
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself.
I mean, banks, they are what they are. But they do, they're requiring, they do, right now, there's a few banks that are still loaning, I think. And they'll loan on the purchase price, but I don't think they loan on repairs.
No. Bank Liberty is doing some investor stuff, but it's limited.
And a lot of times when we say limited, it's if you go to whatever, like Bank Liberty, and if your family's been there for 3 generations and you've got $150,000 in the bank, they'll probably loan to you. And the reason for all this, so you all understand, is like, the reason that they got so critical, the feds come down on them, which whoever regulated the OCC or whoever regulated that bank, they come down on their audits so heavy that they want the liabilities and the assets to be offset more. So they tightened up. Now, the only one, I know I talked to Central Bank about a month ago. They won't loan on any residential, but they're unlimited on commercial. But I mean, your smaller banks that are just local, they're the best ones to go to. But all of them they're gonna be judgmental this way. So I mean, I'm sorry I get to preach it, but it's like, investors need to look at the overall picture and analyze the actual cost. The other thing I want to share with you, and I'm not always, I'm a straight shooter. You have a plan A, okay? Maybe say your plan A is to flip this house. The market changes and you can't flip it. You've got to have plan B and plan C. And in your projected cost, you need to project the worst case scenario. I mean, I'm so fortunate in the stuff I've seen, because if people don't analyze enough, the amount of money that I've seen lost is tremendous. So, is there any other question? Yeah.
I was just concerned about capital improvements. Would the bank, we take that into consideration? For instance, you have a roof that maybe 5 years down the line, you need to replace, and it's going to be $5,000.
Most of them right now, no. It depends on your relationship with the bank, and it depends on their most recent audit. But typically, no. Because the repairs, yeah, they don't care. You know, now that being said, let's say, you know, you have that $5,000 roof you need to replace. And let's say you've got $100,000 equity in your primary residence. They can go in and cross-collateralize. And that they would be more comfortable with than loaning on investment trust. Does that make sense? It's like, there's a lot of options. I mean, there is options. I won't say a lot. There's a lot of options, depending on your specific scenario, what can be done. Okay? I think now, I mean, how many of you, all right, I got a question. How many of you have been in real estate for more than 1 year? Okay? How many of you have been in real estate more than 5 years? More than 10? Okay. It's changed. I mean, and it's a great business. Just make sure you analyze enough. And those that have been in real estate over 10 years, are you able to obtain financing for your investment properties? Probably yes. How many of you are able to obtain financing through your past relationships for investment properties that have been in real estate over 10 years? And is that with relationships you built in the past?
No, just because of that. I mean, it's what you said earlier. If you do enough business with the bank, they won't do the rules anymore, but they will. I mean, I don't have a problem. I want to go to the bank and borrow money and buy whatever I want. They'll help me there.
But I mean, I don't mean to paint a bad picture, I just shoot straight. Now, something I did get today that I was surprised by, there are some lenders on the conventional nationwide that are going to accept flips that are 91 days old for FHA purchases. So let's say you bought a house for $100,000 and you put 25 in it and you're going to resell it for $150,000. They will let you, after you've had ownership for 91 days, FHA will let you sell that to owner occupied and obtain FHA financing. So that's a plus. The new owner, yeah. Because that's good, because then, now they could require 2 appraisals, but if it's valid, and if you would decide to go that avenue, what I tell my investors that go that way, make sure you document the improvements, not only with invoices, but with photos, just to make sure your backside's covered. But to me, might be a decent way to make money, So any other, yes, sir?
Where does your credit score and your credit statement fall into here?
In which part? An investor?
Yes, I mean, in your personal financial statement.
It doesn't. Credit score doesn't play into that personal financial statement. It It's a separate thing.
Oh, I know it's a separate thing. How does it integrate with everything you're talking about?
Well, if you want to go into a bank and get financing, you better have really clean credit the last 3 to 5 years unless something extenuating happened, like a disease or a death in your family.
Does everybody know how to get the free credit report every year?
No, where do you go to? You aren't going to say the right place.
I know, that's why you're up there.
I'm going to tell you something. I actually teach about money. At the Federal Reserve, the FDIC acknowledged me as an educator about money overall, whether it be credit, budgeting, or analyzing investments, okay, with age allocation, we won't go into that. Your credit score is important. I mean, I would tell you to shoot for middle score of 740 or above. Middle, not an average, but a middle. Go to Credit Karma, credit with C, karma with a K, .com. And there you can actually get your credit report and a credit score. And Credit Karmas, they won't ask for any money, because like when you go to some of those, they want your money and that makes me mad. Credit Karma doesn't ask you for any money, and they give you a free score. Their score tends to be more accurate than the others. I've seen the others vary by 35 to 50 points, so don't pay for the others.
Do they do all three?
Yeah, they do all three. And real quick, what all three is: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Okay? What you can do, because each credit bureau, that you once a year you can obtain a free credit report. What I would suggest, if you think there might be issues, okay, you want to monitor it every few months, go into one every 3 months, or 4 months, I'm sorry, and look at it. Now, not all creditors report to all credit agencies, but it should give you a pretty accurate, to go to Credit Karma, and they're the bomb. I mean, when I teach people, that's what I have to do, and they ask you weird questions like, in 1994, how many people, which of these people live with you? And it's like, how did they know that? I mean, it's the federal government, they track a lot about it. But yeah.
But it is also really important to stay on top of your credit score and your credit report, because the minute you find an inaccuracy, you need to report it and try to get it cleared up, which is not the easiest thing to do.
Well, and we saw, I don't know if you all saw Channel 5 with Donna with Kansas City Credit, and she's one of the credit people that I actually believe in, because she works on the person's best behalf, Donna Perkins, and she's been fighting with this one guy. What's happened, and I've seen this before. His brother had student loans, and they had similar Social Security numbers, but not identical. Well, his brother's student loans were coming over on his credit report. Well, they got 2 of the 3 bureaus to drop it, but I think TransUnion would not. And they had to bring in the Attorney General and everything, and they still wanted to fight. By law, the credit repositories have to address it.
So my mom and my mom's credit mingled together. I had a bank account and a credit card when I was 2 years old, apparently. But do you know how it took 4 years to get my credit report and her credit report completely separated again? So the minute you find something, work on getting it removed, because it can take a lot of time.
And your best, in my opinion, if you use the bureaus to find out who's reporting it, let's say TransUnion's reporting an error, send them a letter and quote the law to them, send it certified to register mail, because then you've got a paper trail. They only have 30 days to respond to you. Then you've got more on the line, and quote the laws to them. If you have any questions, I've got 40 Word documents that quote the law to them depending on the specific circumstances, okay? But by law, this is all going to stay on there 7 to 10 years. And I didn't mean to go into credit, I'm sorry. So, any other questions? Yeah. Now the man that has trouble talking is going to talk. They don't believe it.
While she's setting that up for me, I tell you, a lot of what she talked about tonight is exactly what you need to have in a business plan. The how, the why, and the how tonight, okay? So I want to talk fast, you listen fast, hopefully we'll all end up in the same place together. We're up.
Now, here, I'm going to show you. You're going to have to do it.
How many of you have written a business plan? I'm impressed. That's great. That is really good. Why write a business plan? Why'd you write a business plan?
Because I need focus. I needed to see a clear path to where I want to go.
Excellent. Somebody else I saw here. Yes.
See if business model is viable.
Okay. Fantastic.
If you don't know where you're going, you don't know it'll meet you there.
You know, that's great, because that's exactly what a business plan will do for you. If you just decide one day, I want to be a real estate investor or whatever, I want to open a restaurant, and you don't have a business plan, you are dead from the beginning. Because you don't know where you're going. Well, I'm going to do my presentation right here. So, I'm impressed. You know, you guys have really... There we go. So, I'm impressed because it's really important that you guys have a business plan. Business plans are dead, or are they? For many entrepreneurs, the business plan is an outdated document that gets created mainly for the benefit of venture capitalists or bank loan officers, exactly what Cindy was talking about. But bootstrappers rarely think they need one. I didn't know I needed one when I got into real estate until my mentor said, "Where's your business plan?" And I said, I don't have one. So we sat down and started the business plan. Now, I will say this, and I'll probably say it again here in a few minutes, but it can be as short as a one-page deal in the beginning. At least it's a plan, at least it's something to give you a focus, a roadmap, a guide, a place. It tells you where you want to go. Now, I've had people ask me, okay, give me a format or whatever. There are tons of places online that you can go to get a format, that you can get what you need to fill out a business plan. But the fact is, a business plan, even just a one-pager with a few financial projections, can be a valuable tool. Why are financial projections valuable? Why are they important? Especially for us in real estate.
Tells you whether you're on track or not on track.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Tells you where you want to go, where your focus is, gives you a roadmap of where you're going, and then it gives you a way to validate where you are. So it's extremely important that you have one. It will foster alignment to your goals and set the tone for your business. I'll be the first to tell you, even since when I got into real estate in 2008, this is 2013, so I've been in 5 years. I am one of those guys that get excited about, if I see a deal over here, man, I'll take off in this direction. You know, I'll get this thing going. I see something over there, I'll take off over here, you know? And it may not always coincide with what I really set out to do. You're laughing. Because you can totally see that, can't you, Dave?
I would never have guessed.
So, yes. That helps keep you focused. It helps keep you where you need to be and where you're going. It keeps you on track.
Makes you also want to achieve those goals.
There you go. Once you set those goals down in writing, once you put those things there and you know where you're going, it's like, yes, okay, I want to reach it. You know, whether it's a specific number that you want to do every year, whether it's a dollar amount, a house number, or, you know, whatever. It helps you reach those goals and stay focused. And later on, it can even help you draft your brand messaging for your company. Everybody know that they really need to brand yourself. I don't mean like they used to do cattle, but you need to brand your company so that a logo, so that people see that, like, Oh yeah, that's Joe's company. Yeah, that belongs to Chris. That's his logo. It's branding. So, okay? And anytime you have any questions, just pop your hand up. We'll talk about it. I've written down some reasons here, and we're going to be flying through these because I don't want to spend too much time on the why. I want to spend a lot of time on the how. So I've written some reasons down here on the why. First of all, clarity, and I think that's been mentioned. Writing a business plan allows you to think more clearly about what you're doing and where you're going. One key point to remember is that you are not, this is not your to-do list, but it's like a roadmap of where you're going and how you're going to get there. So when you take a long trip, when you go, if you're going to Arizona, you plan for it. You know how you're going to get there. You know the road map. If you're driving, you know what car you're taking. You know what roads to take. You've already looked at the atlas or your GPS. You know, you've got it all lined out, and that's exactly what having a business plan will do for you. So clarity. Then it also helps you gain a deeper understanding of your market. Your plan will help you better understand the industry you're getting into and how well do you need to know this industry. Cindy hit on something a while ago, and it just kind of glossed over. This market is constantly changing. And one thing I've mentioned to Scott in the past about it is that you need to be able to segment your market. Anybody know what I mean by segmenting the market? Please? One person? Segmenting your market simply is this, and this I don't want to spend a lot of time on, we'll do this another time, but segmenting the market is, in my office, I have a huge Kansas City map, or greater metropolitan area map. And, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And what I've done is drawn different colored circles around different parts of the city that this is a really good rental market. It's not a flip market. Here's the flip market over here. Here's both. So, you know, here's a good wholesaling market. So I know when a property pops up, when I'm going to go look at a property, I check on that, like, hey, what am I doing there? That's exactly. And that's part of my business plan. This market is always changing, and so you need to know how to change with the market. One thing the corporate world has taught me is that, brother, if you're not willing to change and adapt, you'll be left in the dust. And you'll be going, what happened? You know, choking on everybody else's dust. You have to change and adapt in this market, know what you're doing. So, helps you gain a deeper understanding. Organization. Organization is not one of my big skills. It really, if you see my desk, you would know, you know, I need to hire somebody to sit down at my desk and do my paperwork for me. It's just about 2 hours of doing that, just like, okay, I'm out of here, I'm going to go do something, buy a house or something. Organization is not one of my big deals, but this helps me stay on track of being organized in my overall company. And that's what we're talking about. In your LLC or your corporate S-Corp, whatever you've got set up, it will help keep you on track and help you stay organized. Creating a plan with expense projections, revenue forecasts, and more can help any business remain committed to its long-term goals. And that was kind of mentioned here a little bit ago, is what are your long-term goals and staying committed to those. Practice makes perfect. And by that I simply mean if you write your first business plan and you don't like it, the mental gymnastics that you go through to write that thing will benefit you in the long run. Wad it up, throw it in the trash, and start all over until you get the business model that you're looking for, that you are comfortable with, one that fits you. You can't run off of my business plan. I thought about bringing mine tonight. I thought, that's not a good idea because you can't run off of mine. I can't run off of yours. I couldn't run off of Dave's. You have to come up with a business model that fits you and what you want. Yes.
I would also suggest that they're writing a new one every year. Review what you've got and rewrite it.
That's good, that's later on in the notes there, but yes, business plans are always needing to be updated, constantly. When you write yours, in some cases, as soon as it hits the printer, it's outdated, you know? And by that, I simply mean that once you write it, it's not a forever done deal. Because your model's gonna change, your goals are gonna change, your focus is gonna change, but you need to have that plan in place so that when that does, you've got a roadmap of how you're gonna get there. Now, confirm the math. A lot of ideas sound great, but before you launch any new idea, create a financial model to project the ROI from several realistic scenarios. Confirming the math in this industry is extremely important. And how do we do that? Yeah, I can look at any house north of the river and tell you just within a few $100 of what it's going to sell for based on. And how can I do that? Because I spent time educating myself on that market. It takes me a little longer to do that when I get out in Independence, Raytown, or south of the river, but I can still do that. And I'm constantly educating myself about house values, about rehab values, about different. I stay up on the insurance costs. That's important to me. You know, that type of thing. And projecting a lot of those scenarios will keep me informed about where I'm going and keep me within the ballpark of the ROI that I'm looking for. Everybody understands what ROI is, right?
Return on investment.
Yes. It will help you iron out possible kinks in your business. Writing a business plan allows you to really think through your plan. Your plan should validate your ideas. It should force you to do your own proper due diligence. And one more, and then I want to jump on. This is the why. I want to jump into the how. Jeff, was it you that said it helps hold you accountable? No, somebody else? Okay. I mean, put you on the spot. But that's what a business plan does. It helps hold you accountable to where you're going, what you want to do. Because now when you write it, don't put it in a file cabinet and forget it. It won't do you any good. You'll forget it 2 months down the road. You really will. Mine gets pulled out regularly. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. So it helps hold you accountable. Now, here's the how. That's the why. How do I write a business plan? What should it include, and why are they important? First of all, it should include the executive summary. This is an abstract of your business plan, a summary of everything that you will say in greater detail in the following pages. It spells out the content and goals of your plan, hitting all the highlights of everything that you want to accomplish, all of your goals, all your entire focus. This section is the key if you're seeking outside funding. Is it important to you, Dave, that somebody have a business plan?
Got an understanding of the business they're in, yes.
Okay. Cindy's already said that the banks, it's important to the banks, and it adds credibility. You know, when you're dealing with a bank, probably not so much with Dave because he understands, he's been an investor and he knows what it's like to be a first-time investor. But when you walk into a bank, I promise you, Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I promise you, if you walk into the senior loan officer's office, and that first impression is, you're an investor and you're wanting a loan, and they're not real comfortable because they're not getting that feedback from you that lets them know you know what you're doing, the chances of that loan going through are slim to none. But when you can walk into the bank, walk into that senior loan officer's office, and you give them a business plan, along with some other stuff. Present that to them, it's like, this guy really knows what he's doing. So you need to have the executive summary in there, and it will give you credibility as you write this thing. This section is the key if you're seeking outside funding, as it introduces possible investors to your business. Be sure to include the background of your company, the marketing opportunity, your capital requirements, a mission statement, and an overview of management, competitors, your business's competitive advantage. What do I mean by that? Yes. If you've taken classes, if you have been mentored, anything that you can put in there that gives you an advantage. The years that you've been, if you've been in real estate quite a while, make sure that that's in there. So that's an advantage that you need to have in there. And a summary of your financial projections over the next 3 years. They want to know, and you want to know, what are you striving for? You know, I have new investors all the time. Hold that thought just a second. I have new investors all the time saying, hey man, I need to make $100,000. Okay, how long do you want to make it? No, I don't know. A couple years, 5 years, 10 years. That's not a goal. You know? I mean, everybody wants to make money, right? It's like, I want to be a millionaire. You know, it's not defined. You need to define it. That's what this does. Okay.
Can I add one to your list?
Yes.
Risks.
Okay, good.
RISK.
Yes.
And mitigation factors for those risks.
Okay.
So the idea is every business, there are potential risks, losses, is what a lender or an investor may look at. You can't eliminate them, but you can mitigate them. If this happens, then this. And what it does is it makes the lender, the investor, whatever the case may be, think that you've gone through all the possible pitfalls and you've already worked out possible solutions to those arise. If you've ever looked at a private placement memorandum, a 100-page memorandum will have 30 pages of risk, because that's a big part of showing that you know your business.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Any questions at this point? I'm about out of coffee. We're in trouble. Secondly, the second thing that you need to include in that, we're going to wrap this thing here up in the next 10 minutes here, is the company overview. The company overview is designed to provide more information about your business, why and when it was formed, its mission, business model, strategy, any existing strategic relationships. I recommend including in this section as part of your organization plan, and that would also cover administrative issues such as intellectual property that you may own, costs associated with your location, the legal structure of your company, management personnel, and how you address accounting, legal, insurance, and security matters, which would kind of go along with what Dave was saying. Okay? So there's the executive statement, the company overview, and then the third thing is the business offering. Here's where you talk about why you're in business and what you're selling or what you're doing. Okay? Whether it's a product or a service, we offer a service, and sometimes I guess the product would be if you rehab a property, put it back on the market. If you sell products, state whether you are the manufacturer, distributor, retailer, producer. Talk about the product and tell and talk about the whole process, what you do, how you're going to do it. Okay. If you provide services if you provide any services, describe those services in detail. of buzzing down through some stuff here, cutting in and out. So, any questions so far? Clear? Everything's clear as mud? That was a cute laugh. I just want to make sure I still got you guys. All right, marketing plan and analysis. In this section, you spell out your marketing strategy, addressing details of your marketing analysis, sales, customer service, advertising, and public relations. Many businesses use this space to showcase their vision of why their business will be successful, backing that up with market research that identifies their target market and industry and customer trends. I could go on reading there, but I think you guys get the idea, correct? I'm the engine going down the tracks and all the cars are coming along with me? Okay. Strategy and implementation. Every business plan needs detail, 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 detail. This section is where many should go. This is where I was trying to read my own writing there. This is where I'm going to be looking as an investor for dates and deadlines. So as an investor, I plug in dates and deadlines of what I want to accomplish, what my business is going to do. That's where I plug all of that in. Okay? Good? And by the way, let me say that as you're going and reaching some of these strategies and you're making your goals, then you need to write down milestones for yourself. You need to make sure to include those so that you can look back on those and use those as a benchmark for where you are and what you've accomplished so that you're not just bogged down and doing all the time. One of the things that this will do, writing a business plan, will encourage you. As you pull that thing back out and you look at it, wow, I've done it. Okay, I did that. Yeah, okay, retrace that. There's this. Okay, it worked there. I went to the bank and now they loved it. So it will be an encouragement to you to go ahead and pull that thing out and look at it, read it again. And finally, I've got written down here, management team. In my company, I am the manager. I don't have a big management team, but I do have a team. We all understand what we mean by team, right? Every investor needs to have a power team. You all understand that? So very quickly, who do we have on a power team? Okay, thanks.
Hard money lender.
Hard money lender.
Lawyer. Lawyer, title company.
Lawyer, title company, both in real estate. Good contractor. Good real estate agent. Somebody understands what you do. And by the way, if any of you have problems getting those, I've got questionnaires that I've come up with. I've got that I go through. If I need to fire one of them, hire somebody else, I have a questionnaire that I go down through. Now I don't use it anymore. I got the questions down. But if you need something like that, see me, and I'll be glad to help you out. I can print those out and go there with you. It'll be a big help to you. But that's what we mean by management team in our business. For investors, it is an important element to include who those people are and what their experience is. So here, I would put in there, when you start describing everybody on your power team, talk about all the things that they can do. List all of that. Everything that maybe some of the bigger things that they have done. So that's what you need to include in there. Now, 30 minutes to go over what Cindy talked about and what I've talked about, there really is not enough time to do it justice, but you've gotten the bigger picture. We've given you the nuts and bolts of how to put this together, of your personal financial statement, of how all of that financial stuff works, you know. And even today, if I have a question, I call Cindy.
Thank you.
Always give out her.
If any of you need a number here, let me pull it out. So, but, you know, it's just one of the, these are two of the things that are critical for you to do on a regular basis as a business person, as a real estate investor, to be successful long-term. Things that you need to have in place. And so any questions on either what Cindy talked about or what I talked about, Dave?
Wouldn't you agree a financial statement properly prepared once you take all of your costs into effect also helps you dial in a high criteria and a pricing methodology?
Yeah, I mean, it fits hand in glove. It does. Agreed, very much so. All right. Cindy, and then Polly.
I just want to put some questions out there for the club.
Okay.
I would really like to know, I think we're going to do some questions on emails. What is your long-term goal? You know, we would like to know what you're doing today, but then what your long-term goal is 5 or 10 years down the road, what you would like to accomplish as an investor. So then we can have a better fit as far as what kind of knowledge, what we can bring to you, or what value we can bring to you. Okay? And either you can email us, you know, go to the website, but let us know what do you want to do. The other thing, a long-term goal. The other thing I would like to know, so we get our topics down for next year, is how do you currently invest in real estate? Where are you at in the current market? Are you a wholesaler? Are you a buyer? Are you a note purchaser? You know, I think we need to know that next year, you know, the topics next year. We would like to know what you all want to accomplish, so we can help you accomplish it.
Yeah, because what's important to you is important to us. If we design programs and we have meetings that we think are important, but it's not really helping you, then we're not really adding value to your membership for you to be here. It's all about you guys, not about us, most of the time.
Someday, should I tell them what I'm doing this weekend?
We've got to have fun up here, guys, so anyway.
You need to tell them?
Huh?
You need to tell them what I'm doing this weekend?
They better tell us now.
Well, I got something real big going on this weekend.
No.
I'm getting,
No.
I'm getting a new pad and a bladder installed.
She told me that earlier. I said, TMI.
Have a waterbed.
Waterbed. Anyway.
I had to make y'all laugh because I can do smart. Yeah.
Yeah, we should take some of the board meetings. Good to see.
Okay. As everything has been discussed tonight, the financial statements, the business plans, we have members here, members that aren't here, that have done these things, and members that haven't. I have put on the forums a new financial forum where you guys can get together, ask each other questions, you know, get and give advice to other members about how to put these things together properly from your experiences to help other members. And you guys that are just running your business plans, go on there and ask questions. Forums that have topics in them always go out in the emails. People always view it. People are more than happy to give you some advice, tell you who to contact, tell you where you need to go to look this up or that up. Ask questions, discuss it, because you've got a huge group of people here that are very knowledgeable and a large group of new members that aren't quite as. You all need to be helping one another. And you new members, I know we've got a ton of resources with our current members, our older members, that will be able to help you tremendously in preparing these financial statements, the pro forma statements, and writing up your business plan so that you do it right for your business. So those are online now. Take a look over the next few days, ask your questions.
Guys, you've been a tremendous audience. You've been great tonight. One last thing, Scott?
Do you mind if I share something that would help the group?
Sure. Come with it.
All right, good. You know, I feel like Elvis. I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree, you know? Who wants to do a business plan? Hands, please. Here's something really cool. Myself and Dan, we went through what's Ewan Kaufman, you know, the $1 billion foundation that helps entrepreneurs. They have something called the Fast Track program. It's stellar. It's master's level business planning on steroids. We were fortunate enough to go through that. And one thing I want to tell you, a gold gem in the library at Johnson County Library is a lady named Fran. And she will walk you through building your business plan. Good. That was part of the Fast Track program. We went there for a day and spent it with Fran. She loves to help people. She's passionate about it, and she will argue with you if you ask her, I have a stupid question. She's 60-some years old and will tell you, you better not ever say that again, and she likes chocolate. So, you know, she's very cool to work with. I just want to tell you, because what you're saying, I didn't feel I had the skill sets to put it together. Guess what? She has a repository of thousands of business plans on file.
Good.
The residential redevelopment model is there.
Awesome.
And
Post
the
it in the forums so people can go and find that information.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to the people that attend the meetings right now. No, I'd be glad to help out, but my point is, Fran at the Johnson County Library, you do not have to be a Johnson County resident to go and get it for free. It's done. And I wanted to excuse me for barking out the hard money lender because my throat's kind of dry. So Dave and I decided to go to the watering hole at Sully's. Anybody's welcome to come. We're going to go water our throats because it's getting really dry. Good, good.
There's blank business plans on the Johnson County Library site. If you have a library card, they'll give it to anybody and you can just go on and download it and fill it out.
Great. So there's tremendous resources out there to do that. You need to get that done. And don't forget our Saturday coffee networking event. It is tremendous. Please be there.
Something else, I just thought, you talk about the library, Mid-Continent Public Library, if you are a member there, you can go in and let's say you're looking at buying properties in a specific neighborhood, you can access databases that tell you their spending and the average income for there. So, I mean, there's another source. It's great. I mean, there's a ton of sources of the library.
Yes. Yeah. Guys, you are dismissed. You've been great tonight. Thank you so much for coming.